So in this video, we're working on a 84 Honda 500 Shadow, and this bike's sat around for a while. And what's a common problem with older bikes is that after they sit a while, the brakes have a tendency to lock up. Now I have this bike with the front wheel raised off the ground, and you can see that this wheel sticks, which means that it needs to be repaired. Now the right way to do this would be to rebuild everything, but we're kind of in a time crunch, so we're just going to try to fix it. There are basically three things that would make this caliper stick. Either the pistons are stuck, the pins are stuck, which the caliper has to slide back and forth, or up in the master cylinder there's a little return hole in here that could be plugged. Now by the looks of this master cylinder, the fluid's old and it's seeping a little bit and it's in rough shape, so we're definitely going to clean this out, and we're definitely going to flush out the fluid, and by doing that we have a good chance of the brake working properly again. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to remove the caliper. Now to get a little bit of to loosen this thing up a little bit, I'm going to take a plastic mallet and it already loosened it up so I can get the caliper off. So that tells me a lot of stuff already. It tells me that either the pins or the pistons are probably sticking. So I'm going to take the caliper off. Pry that caliper off there. And it's off. And it looks like the pistons are a little crusty. Brake pads look like they're in pretty decent shape. And definitely the pins are stuck. Well, this one. Well, that was the bolt. That one wasn't stuck. But this one definitely was. There, I just broke it loose. I might pull that out of there and grease that up real good. I'm not even going to take the brake shoes off. I'm just going to pump the caliper out. Pump the caliper out. And you can see that pistons moved quite easily, which is great. I left the brake shoes in there so I wouldn't push the pistons all the way out. Pliers. And now the brake shoes come out. Now if you take a look at that, that's pretty crusty. So first thing I'm going to do is hit it with some, this is some brake cleaner. And then what I have here is a strip of Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to stick these in here. Try to clean up those pistons a little bit. I'm going to push them out a little farther, see if I can get them a little cleaner. It's hanging up. We got to put something in there to hold it. Get that other one to come out. Some more brake cleaner on there. Get my piece of Scotch-Brite on there. Then I'm gonna just take some lubricant because I want this. I want these things to slide easy. And let that soak in there and eat some of that corrosion away. And then I'm going to take one of the brake shoes and stick it back in here. open that baby up. And I'm going to push that piston back. And you're starting to go back. And we're just going to push them back. And what we're also doing is, if you'll notice, here's where the top of the cylinder is. If there's any air in there, we're going to push that back up into the master cylinder. Now those pistons are all the way in. Now before we open up the master cylinder, you want to cover your tank with a rag. You spill brake fluid on your gas tank, it wrecks the paint. Now to do this part, you want to make sure you use a JIS screwdriver or you will strip these out. Oh yeah, they came out easy. Let's pull this cover off and see what kind of crap is inside this master cylinder. And you probably want to wear gloves too. This stuff's just awful. Oh yeah, that's nasty looking. So I'm going to grab my vacuum pump and suck all this old stuff out of here. If you don't have a vacuum pump, you can sop it out with a rag. That's some nasty stuff. Yeah, that one's been sitting for a while. Take a look in there. Pretty nasty still. See this clip right here? Below it is a little itty bitty return hole. And if that gets plugged, the brakes will also stick. We're gonna pop this little keeper out of here. And clean that. Right there is a itty bitty little return hole, this thing, and it likes to get plugged. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna run some more brake cleaner in here and try to clean this master cylinder out. Get it out of there. Clean the window. Brake cleaner in there. Shoot a little in there. A little in there. Now we're going to suck the rest of that out of there. That's way better. Now we're going to take a wire brush and we're going to steal one of these wires out of here. We're just going to grab it like this. This is just a wire from a wire brush. That is the perfect diameter to go down this hole. You want to poke it through and make sure that that's clean, because if it's not, the brakes won't release. Squirt a little bit more fluid in there. Suck that out of there. Alright, then you want to stick this dumb little clip back in there, because before you put the brake fluid in, because when you push the cylinder back, if you don't have this clip in there, fluid will shoot out of there and squirt you right in the eye. Seen it happen. Now we're going to pour fresh brake fluid in there. We're going to remove the clamps. And then we're going to go pump the master cylinder and see how and pump new clean fluid down into these cylinders. Now we know we got clean brake fluid in there. Now I'm going to put the brake shoe back in. Put the C-clamps back on. And now we're going to kind of bleed this thing out. But you want to set it up this way so that the air comes up and goes back into the master cylinder. Maybe we want to hold it like this so the bubbles go to the top. Drive that piston back. Now I'm driving the pistons back and you can see the reservoir slowly filling up. Now I drove all the nasty fluid that was in the system. I'm going to suck it all out. I'm going to replace it with some clean fluid again. Now I'm going to pump the master cylinder and drive the pistons back out. I've pumped the cylinders all the way out. I'm going to wipe them down one more time with both in there. Pipes on. The pistons are in. Suck that stuff out. Fill it for a third time with clean fluid. Now my whole brake system's flushed out really well. I put my brake pads back in there with the pins, these pins. Put my clip on there and tightened it up. I took this bushing and I greased the heck out of it. Now it slides real easy. I test this bushing, make sure it's greasy, it looks pretty clean. Now I can just set my caliper back on there. If you notice, I never opened up the system. My brakes are already bled because of the way I did it with the clamps. So if you have a stuck bleeder, a broken one, and you don't want to buy another caliper, that's an easy way to bleed your brakes. Alright, let's go pump the master cylinder and see what we get. Pumping it. Got no brakes yet. Oh, there we go. Nice and hard. That works. Let's test to see how this thing's gonna work now. Looks like it works. So now I'm just going to top the master cylinder off a little bit. Just so we got enough fluid in there. Don't overfill it. Now I cleaned up the cover. And well, and now it's silver. Anything to do with paint and And brake fluid is just a no, not gonna work. Gonna look like hell in a short period of time. That doesn't look too bad. Put the screws in. You don't have to crank them. They're little 5mm screws. You don't have to whale them down, just enough to seal the cover. Make sure you wipe down any spills. That brake fluid is nasty. Doesn't do your paint any good. So let's try this thing. Lots of brake. That should work for a while until parts come in. Test it, make sure it works. Spins free. You have the brake. Yep. No more sticky brake. Leave a comment below. Like it. Share it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.